Alrighty, welcome back. I'm your man, Bad Chad, and Queen Jolene's on the camera, and we are on air. What we're going to do today is I'm going to put some primer around the inside of the trunk lid and inside the doors, and a little bit on places that I've fixed. Where I've blocked it all out, this is what we did. We did a 40, 80, that's on the bodywork, and then we primed it. Then I blocked it all with an 80 grit, trying to straighten it out the best I could. Basically, I wanted to get that one shell on the whole thing, what I'm using the primer for, to make it all one. When I blocked it out, there was pinholes in it, and I'm going around and fixing the pinholes. On the side of the taillights here, I wanted to play with that a little bit more, so I got a little work going on there. This primer is excellent for body fill adhering to it. Feathers off nice, it sticks nice. Couple little places I went in and fixed because I seen something. Basically, if you want to know how good you make something, basically you want to see no picks, no scratches. That's the end of it. So if you do body work, or if you're working for somebody, if you're going to paint your own car, you basically want no picks, no scratches in your body work. If I can see them, you can see them. So basically that's what you're going for. As I've got this car primed, there is still a couple pinholes. I'm going to prime the insides of the doors. I got things wrapped up there. I'm going to, go in through there and prime it up and build it up as much as I can so I have no issues. Come take a look here. Please, sweetheart. Jolene looks amazing today. Fixed the little pinhole right there. No, there's one right down there. So I have to get that stuff. So I'm just going to take a second. I'm going to mix up just a little tiny bit of filler. Just a little tiny bit. I'm going to put it on before I prime because I might put some primer on the little tiny places that I've fixed. I think that sounds reasonable. I don't really want to get into priming a whole bunch more. I'm going to do the inside the doors. And why I have the primer mixed up, well, I may as well shoot it on the places that I've did a little bit of work on to make myself happy. So when you're doing body work, it is done when there's no picks and no scratches. That's when it's done. If it has picks and scratches in it, you did not finish, basically, if you know what I'm trying to say. That's basically what's going on with this bodywork thing here. And as you can tell, I'm working the body right to the very end of before I paint it. So right at the present moment, I am still in the process of making the body what I want it to be. I found a few pinholes and I want them not to be there. So I'm just mixing up a little bit of filler. See this little pinhole right here? That could ruin your day. Don't want that. Just putting enough on to fill the hole. And then I can come along with a 80 grit, knock that off nice and easy. So I will not hurt the primer at all. The primer is really hard compared to that. Body fill will be soft. It's got a couple pinholes there though, and I don't want them. You wouldn't want them either. They'll stand out, and what they'll look like is dirt. And it won't be dirt, it'll be pinholes. I think I'm good there. I've got a couple here, but they're underneath that molding. I don't know if it mattered, or not molding, but the hood piece. Didn't think it mattered, but I'm going to put some on. What the hey? When they take it off, they won't see any. So I had a little pinhole there, Just keep chasing them to the end of time. That's what I'm going to do there. I'll mix up some primer. This is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to mix up some primer and prime inside the doors and go from there and in around the trunk. We're going to put the primer right to it because we have not primed inside the doors yet. Where we are painting it, not sure what the color is yet. Jolene's going to have to. Jolene's a big girl. She said she'll take the heat, no problem whatsoever. Whatever color it's going to be. Didn't you, baby? Not a problem. So we've got 1 quart left. When I primed it for the second time, I used 1, 2, 3, 4 quarts. I used 7 quarts. There'd be 8 quarts in that. There'd be 4 in this one and 4 in the other one. I only used 7 of them when I primed it. Now I'm going to use the last quart in around the door. So I got one more to mix up. So I'm going to just mix it right in the can. There's no sense putting it in there. It is what it is, and that's what I have left. We'll put that on there, and the few places that I've fixed. Make sure you always shake something. You can see that it's not that well shaken, so we'll stir it up. It's all good. So I am really going to pour the primer to the underneath of this, or the inside of this, and the inside of the doors. I'm going to sock it right to it. And the reason being is it probably needs it, because it's all been filled, scratched, welded, dealt with, all that sort of stuff. And we want to try to make it, put enough primer, enough product on it, when we sand it, we get it. And what I mean by get is, you can see I've touched down here, little pinholes that I do not want. Just going to do this. I'll do it after, actually. I'll get this primer gun ready. Don't think I need to spray all that. So this will be the third use for this gun without spending the time of cleaning it. So it's going good. It's 15 bucks. Jolene bought a bunch of them for me on sale. It's going fantastic as far as that goes. Haven't spent a bunch of time on it. Jolene's showing you the engine right now, which Doug and Nate got ready yesterday. Nathan's actually gone this moment, going to get hardware, bolts and stuff to mount the transmission to the engine. He's done a few things to it. We'll let him tell you what he's done to it, but he's got it cleaned up. They're going to mount them together. And if we have time, when I'm done priming, I'm going to come over and help Nate try to get this engine back in the car. It's going good. It's going real good. Now, one of these to a quarter primer. Just wondering if I should shut down the door. Probably should, shouldn't I? Huh? Actually, around the trunk is going to be hard. So I'll leave it, see what happens. Your car's covered. I just don't want to get primer on the engine or the transmission or the black over there. Don't want to do that. Don't want to do that. Leaving the doors on the car, obviously, not taking the doors off and doing that labor part. We'll prime them and make them look as good as we can for what we have. Now, on something that you were building for show, I guess, which is totally different, you would probably end up taking the doors all off and doing all that and making sure that everything is fantastic. But come on, cover. It's probably one of the poorest things of these paint guns is the cover. And the plastic bucket is not quite big enough. Also, I must add, I'm priming inside the doors and getting that stuff ready because the outside of the car is ready. I got to prime the garnish moldings, and I cannot paint the car until I find headlight doors. I have not found any. I went outside and took a set off the Austin. I went down and looked at the Packard. The Packard have the ones I want. an old 48 Packard down the head, but the headlight doors are roached. I have not got any headlight doors, and I'm not going to paint the car unless I find headlight doors. Not going to do it. I'll paint the inside of the doors and that sort of stuff, but I need the headlight doors before I paint. And I have to make sure they fit. Basically, that's what I want. Hat. I sort of want to turn the pressure down a little bit. Gotta get down. Hand's cramping up on me. That's what I don't want right there. See a little pinhole? I don't want that stuff. Nobody does. I don't think. And if I get runs in this stuff, it don't matter. I'm sanding it out. Not that I'm going to. Damn, get down. Should have done all this first. Shit. Press that, did I? Did that time. Got all your stuff?
Got her, yeah.
Awesome. All right, so I have one more gun full. I do. I got a couple little pieces here I want to knock off of the sandpaper. And then I'll pour the next little batch of primer in there, and then we'll put a little primer on these too while I have it. And knock this off. Primer's close by. I just primed that, so I just want to be careful. I'm not going to take off any primer as I'm doing this. Just going to take that pinhole off. And then I want primer over top of the pinhole. Not busting through the primer, not anything, just leaving that on there, cover the hole. You see the pinhole right in the middle of that. The primer is harder than the body fill. I know it's harder to believe, but it's true. Body fill sands off just so easy on top of this. Easy peasy. Now I can throw a little primer on that. Remember, right, I have not sanded the car yet. The primer's still on the car from the last time I primed it. I'm just going over it and finding pinholes and fixing them. Had a few up on the hood. See how easy I buff these off. Doesn't affect anything. Primer, the body feels soft. The primer is hard because of being dried. You can see that body fill in that pinhole. I want to cover these up. This is my chance. I got a little primer going. This is the time to do it. Got some dirt in the hood there. What do I find? Another pinhole. Fix it. It's not a problem. It's just has to be dealt with. Good. I don't even have to prime that really. I could guide coat that, block that, and it should be fine, but where I'm here. Might as well get a couple of them. Just like that. Nothing to it.
We lubed up the seal for the...
Nathan put a new seal in the transmission before we started, and the reason being is, I guess he just doesn't want to see it, get it in there and have it leak.
She felt like she went through clicks. Yep, she went in all three. That's good.
Ooh.
Usually check to make sure it gets all three clicks in that pump. She went in there good. Just double check. Yeah, that's good. right clean. Clean her up. I took the flywheel bolts back out and put Loctite on them because we just tested it the other day, so Loctite on the flywheel bolts now. And then we should be ready to stick it together. Put the chain on it. Get rid of the chain bolt. Crap, where'd the short one go? There's a short one here somewhere. Is that one long enough? I should have brought that lift plate today. Two longer, I'm going to squeeze it myself. Two longer bolts here. Like that one. Don't want the door to shut all the way, it's going to stick on it.
I have a couple little tiny pinholes right there. Taking my finger, pushing them in with the primer and closing them off. They're that small, but I'm using the primer to fill them, and I'll just put more primer. I'm going to sand it off anyways.
That is full too. Another one. There and I think good. So got it. Loctitted the flywheel bolts and got them done. Took the crank pulley bolt back out, put some silicone on that, and get that back in and torqued up. We've got a water pump coming, but we can paint the water pump when it's off. And then we just went and got some transmission bolts. We didn't have any right bolts for the transmission to bolt to the motor, so we just got them. And to get it bolted together and slid in on the mounts anyways, hopefully. Without beating this black paint up too much. No guarantees though. Never any guarantees on that. I'll have to set the chain twice. Once the tranny's on, I'll have to set the chain. Set this bolt. We're going to kind of set in the middle for now. I've got an engine lift plate. I should have brought it. I forgot this morning. I would have brought it with me. We're going to have to touch up a little bit of orange underneath where these mount is on here and the very bottom of the oil pan, but it's underneath. For a driver, it'll look pretty good. Should drop my whole electric ratchet. I forgot a bunch of things today. As you get doing 15 things, sometimes you forget to bring stuff with you. I put number one up on top dead center before I fold the distributor. That way when we get the new distributor, we already know it's on number one to set it in. that'll make it a lot easier than guessing. That thread didn't get on there. The flywheel on it. Watch that. Pressure it up a little bit. There it goes. Scratching it up, aren't we? Like little carrots. Oh, excuse me. Stick up there. It's cold out here today. See how close we got here. Getting close there. Look at that. Getting close there. Stay here. Set up on there a little better. I'll get a bolt and line it up that way. Just line one up. Now once you get one lined up, then she'll set right on there, on that dowel. Struggle a little bit here by yourself. All I'm going to do is line it up with that for now. Slide in. And we'll slide in. Should have had a block underneath it or something. Shut her down, no binding there.
Fog, not fog coming in here. It's pretty good. Just want to see the dog there. I put two full cupfuls of primer on the inside of the doors. And the reason I did that because I figure I need it. In the end, when I was spraying it, I would take my finger. If I found a pinhole, I'd rub it in the primer, and then the primer would go in the pinhole, and then I just reprimer it again. So all the little pinholes on the inside of the door, I think I fixed them with just doing it with my finger, rub it back and forth, fill the pinhole full of primer, and then primer. So I think I'm going to be good there. That's a lot of primer for the inside of the door, and that there, I feel. But in all honesty, I want it for when it comes time to sand it. That's what I want it for. Nathan, I see Nathan's the man.
Torque converter's not jammed. I can reach in there and spin my torque converter, so I had it back all the way, and it's 3 clicks.
Yeah, I remember doing that, jamming it up, and you can break the pump.
You can break the pump that way. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going.
She's not jammed up. She's
clean. I'm going to clean this gun or put a little thinner in it. And I'm probably going to give Nathan a hand for a minute. Just won't go anywhere for a second. See if we can't get the motor in the car for a visual. That'd be nice. Nice.
Nice. Should not take the ratchet with me. That one can't get that way. Just double check that pump, make sure on this.
Any special torque to the back of those? Just tight, hand tight, mechanic tight?
Yeah, you kind of get the feel for it after a while.
You get the mechanic tightness?
It was tight, yeah.
I usually twist them off. No, I don't.
Well, they're 3/8, so they're pretty good. Like,
just snug, eh?
Tight, yeah.
Looks good.
The original
the intake's coming off. We're gonna basically just we're putting it on, putting it in with the intake. Touch it up as we go.
The original bolts had a washer made right on them. I know we're putting washers on these, so I'll give them a little bit more. Just the way I feel about them.
Looks good though, doesn't it? Looks fresh.
Right fresh. Pump still.
Just gonna come in here and take a look at the doors for a second as the primer's on there.
Yeah, pump still free there, so we're good. We're probably gonna have a little. We didn't drain the tranny, and it does have fluid in it, so we're probably gonna have a bit of a.
I think I'll use that trick more often.
We might have a bit of a mess on that when it goes in. Yeah, them washers are sucking up sun.
You want to come take a look for a sec? So this is what I did. I've got all the whole car is primed now. It's getting straighter and straighter all the time. The first time I did it, I thought it was fairly straight. When we primed it, we straightened it out a little bit more with the 80 grit on the primer. Now we're into our second prime. We're on our first time primer on the inside. So basically, the car has got all its primer on that we think I need. You can see up in there now. No pinholes. I took my finger and rubbed the primer. I did that on a few spots, and I think it's going to save me. And the reason being is I don't want to do what I done on the hood. I probably should have just took a little primer and rubbed it in there. Probably should have did that instead. But I made sure I rubbed all the pinholes on the doors, so when it comes time to paint those, or sand those and get rid of those ready to paint, they should be fine. I'm thinking that I've got it on the inside here. Now I'm going to help Nathan do what he's doing. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do.
We're probably going to have a little bit of a. That transmission's got quite a bit of fluid in it.
That's fine.
We're probably going to have a little mess on that.
That's fine. Get some rags.
So we'll see where that's going to set when it lifts here.
We are going with a short nose water pump on the front of this. We just ordered the water pump, and we're going with a short nose one. And from what I understand, it's just got a smaller snout on it, I guess.
It's shorter from the block to the fan. To the pulley.
This is hard to believe. Well, not hard to believe, but I looked one up on Speedway, and I think it was $100, and it probably was more because my book was probably 15 years old. But yeah, I think it was $100. Nathan called about this one this morning. $71. How do we get it cheaper than we can buy it American here? That's awesome. Sometimes you have to phone around. But Napa Know-How had it for $71, and there's the short nose water pump. That's kind of small compared to the other one. That is the one too, right?
Looks like
it's a lot smaller.
Yep.
So we're going with the smaller water pump on this, and we are going to paint this because that's cast iron, and first thing it would do, same as the 50, it would rust on there and look like a dog's ass.
Should take that cross.
That's good. That's going good. Also, with this car here, this car on this one here, there's a couple differences on the cars that we're doing. This one here was something that we bought not running, been sitting for 60 years, no brakes, would not turn over, no lights, no nothing, just a body with the engine in it, original. So when you get this home, you automatically know that you have to do the gas line, the gas tank, the gas line, the brake lines, the brakes, and go over its mechanical fitness sort of thing, like this shackle on this side is broke. Go over the kingpins, all that stuff has to be gone over. When we take the motor out of it, we are putting in a motor that I got for nothing. So that I'm trying to keep the money down on this one. All the time and the money would be spent in the labor and putting it together, and that becomes overwhelming in itself. But if you're doing it yourself, it's the pleasure of doing it, basically. I think Nathan actually works here, does a couple other builds in other places, and then he go home and work on his own truck.
That's usually how it goes, yep.
Right? And it's basically that's how it goes. So he's into doing the cars and the truck restoration thing. But to keep the price down on this car and put the motor and transmission that I have that I've got cheap, I think the transmission was $150. We did a video on that where we bought a 4-speed or a 5-speed standard at the same time. It was in Yarmouth. But basically something like this, when you get it all together, you probably could go buy yourself one that you can drive, original, like whatever, like a 6-cylinder in it, nice interior in it, nice paint on it. You probably can buy yourself one for probably 15 for sure, 10 or 15. But in the end, we'll probably have 10 or 15 in this one. But it'll be the way we want it. It'll be chopped. It'll have a V8 in it. The brakes will be gone over. The gas tank will be gone over. So you have to make your mind up before you start something like this. If you want to grab something like this and shove a brand new motor in it, well, there's $10,000 if you wanted to go that way. If you want a body job on it, you're looking at, with the chop on it, you're looking at another probably $20,000 to $40,000 just do the body on it and to get it and paint it and put it back on. Then you're into something that you could have bought for quarter of the money and maybe had a little bit more happiness because you could have driven it. There's a couple of different ways of doing it, but I like the idea that people restore cars, and to be honest with you, it keeps people like me and Nathan in business. Like it supports the habit. Like when we were at Grand National Roadster Show, there was nothing there. There was nothing there that was necessary. There wasn't a car in the building that was necessary. The cars that are necessary are the ones out in the parking lot, driving people back and forth to work and that sort of stuff. But that stuff in there is all luxury, and to start in this business and to make it work and have clientele and feed your family, you really have to dig down deep and do some good work and try to get it done as quickly as possible, because there's other people trying to do the exact same thing. We are fortunate enough here to actually build cars and build them as cheap as possible, as reasonable as possible, and that makes me happy. With the 50, we had that one running. We just wanted to do the body work to it, to change the outlook of the whole car and get some paint on it. And it's still running up because there's nothing that I can do with the car or get the car finished without buying something, you know, basically. So be careful when you get into projects, which way you want to go.
They can go up and they can go down.
And they can go up or they can go down. But if you're going to start something, try to be as frugal as possible, because there's lots of places where you can spend your money. Lots of places. Is there not, Nate?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. So you just got the mounts there painted. We're just going to let them dry for a second. We're going to pause for a second. What's that? Okay, we're going to leave you be. The reason being is we've got our time in, we've got our car primed, we've got the engine put together, but we'll be back. You come back tomorrow. We'll be here. Thanks a lot for coming back. I appreciate it. Money's not everything, but it sure does help when you're doing something like this. Back tomorrow. We'll be here.